What's going on, guys? Welcome to the WRESTHINGS podcast. I'm your humble host, Anafi. The Mandem already in this group chat. Obviously, I call it a group chat because it feels like a group chat when we do this podcast. We got, if you man, if you want to introduce yourself quickly.
When I say guap, you say daddy. Guap.
Daddy.
Guap.
Daddy.
It's the strong star rating, leg drop hating, Chris Jericho loving, big back rubbing, son of a gun, still boy. I'm here. I'm in the building.
Yo, that's the hardest intro.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, it's Young Laps, aka The Laps, aka Young Guap, the newcomer to the podcast, soon going to be in the main event. Just wait on it. Give me a couple more months and I'll be up there with Anafi and Lloyd. So yeah, welcome to the podcast, guys.
Yeah.
We have an extremely special guest, one of the most special guests.
Trust me.
Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Man, I can't follow up yours. Ric Flair would be turning. Damn.
Oh.
But yeah, man, thank you guys for having me on so much. It's Alex Mccarthy here from TalkSport. I'm the US editor there and the host of Talk Wrestling, the only wrestling show on national radio, would you believe?
Right.
So, man, it's a pleasure to be chopping it up with you guys today.
It's a pleasure to have you on, man. Honestly, it's been something that we've been wanting to happen for a very long time. I think we've been atting you for a while. I think it's been since the beginning of this year. Whenever you posted something, it was like, yeah, check us out. Eventually we're here now, man, and it's like, it's sick, man. So yeah, let's get it cracking, man. Let the man know what you're about, where you're from, and all that sort of stuff. How you got into it?
Well, man, I mean, so right now I live just north of London, and I was kind of born and raised here, other than going to university in Southampton and stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
Wow, that's close to us.
Yeah, we went to Portsmouth.
We're in Portsmouth.
Oh, cool, yeah, man. I had a few nights out there, man.
Or Liquid and Envy and that, and
yeah, you know, man.
Tiger.
Yeah, I used to play football down there too. For a team. It was a team called Bashley.
Okay.
So it's like the New Forest, like between Bournemouth and Southampton. But man, yeah, those are good days. Like, I didn't even think it was possible to write about wrestling back then, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can imagine.
When I was at uni, I was thinking I'm going to report on football and I'm going to be like the next Henry Winter or something. But it just, weirdly, as the years went by, my first big break in journalism was writing about NBA.
Oh, wow.
So okay.
Crazy.
I don't know if you know a company called Give Me Sport.
Give Me Sport, yeah.
Yeah, so they're kind of big on Facebook. That's their thing, man. And they became like the official partners of the NBA in about 2016, and then they were looking for writers. I was writing about, I think, sports betting then. So, but because there just aren't that many guys in the UK who want to write about basketball, kind of by default, I think I made like the short list of 10, and then they took me on as the staff writer. And it kind of went from there. And then while I was there, when they eventually lost the partnership, they were like, well, what else can you write about? And I was like, well, I like wrestling. Like they had like a wrestling side, but you know what it's like. Like a lot of the major sites didn't really give it the love that it needed.
Yeah.
I was like, I could do that, and I kind of, from there, I did that for a couple of years, like as the US guy. Like, so I do like UFC as well, and boxing, and obviously NBA and NFL when it came up. But then after a couple of years, they were like, nah, man, just write about wrestling. Like, that's your thing. Like, do that.
Mm-hmm.
It was bringing in the clicks and stuff. And then TalkSport approached me. It was actually, I was in New Orleans, right, for Mania. And they had a couple of guys out there, and they were like, they just liked what I did, like with my interviews and stuff. And they said, we could do with you on our website. Because, again, their website had no wrestling.
Man.
I think before I joined, like the year before, so I joined in the 2nd of January. And the year before, 2018, the whole year, they had like 30,000 clicks on wrestling. And then last year in 2019, we had over 13 million.
That's mad.
Oh,
Wow.
That's just,
Yo, big up, man.
That's a crazy number.
That's just the jump. Like, the jump was mad. And again, really, it's just from giving it the proper attention. Because the audience is there, as you guys know. Like, there's a big fan base. So it's just kind of gone from there, man. And then obviously, like I said, with those numbers, the bosses then said, like, I was like, well, maybe we should have a show. Like, there's obviously people out there who want to read about it or listen. And the bosses were like, yeah, I guess so. So that's pretty much it.
That's mad.
That's crazy.
That's proper crazy. How did you even get into wrestling? What made you fall in love with this glorious sport, wrestling?
So I don't know how old all you boys are. I'm 32, right? So
we're like 20, like 5 upwards, so I'm like 27 now. Yeah.
So
I'm 23.
I was gonna say you look the youngest, to be fair.
Yeah.
Nah, man. So obviously I grew up in like the prime Attitude Era. Like when I was like 10 years old, that was when it was all
So
happening.
lucky.
Yeah. Oh man. Like I was when I was 10 years old, the Montreal Screwjob had like just happened a few months earlier, and it was all like just kicking off, and that's when I really got into it. And then The Rock was my guy, man. He was just my guy.
Yeah.
You know, everyone loves Stone Cold, right? But there was just something about The Rock that was like magnetic. So, man, what an era. And I just, it was one of them things, like everyone at school, you know, it is, man, like everyone's giving each other stunners and
Yeah. Pedigrees and the thing as well.
I was like, I need to get on board with this. But like, weirdly enough, like I bonded with my gran of all people over it. Because, so like, I didn't spend that much time with my dad when I was younger, and because of that, I kind of spent a lot of time with my grandparents anyway. And my mum was always, don't let him watch wrestling. He
Why is it always the mums that don't want you to watch wrestling? I don't understand. My mum never used to let me watch wrestling.
I'll say to her now, look how it worked out.
Look at that.
But yeah, man. So when I used to spend time there, even my granddad, he was like, nah, like, get this rubbish off. And my gran would like still record it for me because I don't know if you remember this, but like Raw used to be Friday nights.
Yeah, Friday nights. Yeah.
Back in the day, and then Smackdown was like Saturday mornings.
Saturday morning on Sky One, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So like that was my like routine. Stay there Friday.
Yeah.
Get all of it before I went back home, and then she would take the pay-per-views for me as well, and I was just hooked, man. And I think like a lot of people, I fell out of it a little bit at points. Like,
it happens.
So like when The Rock left. Like, that's how much of a fan I was. I was like, this ain't for me anymore.
Yeah.
So that was about 2003, 2004, around that period when he was like in and out, and I kind of fell away a little bit. And then when I was back at uni, in my second year, because in the first year you're in like dead halls and you ain't got no eye. You know, in the second year you can get it back. And I had a couple of friends who liked it, so it drew me back in. And then I think again I fell away when I left uni because I didn't have Sky. And I went to my friends one day. It was like 2011, maybe. It was like it was a Saturday morning. There was some highlights on, and it was Daniel Bryan. And I had no idea who Daniel Bryan was. I'd never seen him because I hadn't been watching. I hadn't been locked into the independents either at that point. So I was like, oh, cool. And then I was watching. I was like, this guy looks ordinary.
I know what you mean. I was there before.
That's what I mean. Like, if you think about the guys from the Attitude Era or whatever.
Yeah, they look tough. They got a bit of back the minute. You got what I mean? They got the person. I don't know.
Even in like the early to mid 2000s, you got like Batistas and Randy Orton and that.
Yeah.
And then you see Daniel Bryan, and you're a bit like,
it's like a jobber, isn't
it?
Yeah. But then I watched him wrestle for like all of 5-10 minutes, and I was like, this guy is good. Like, and I was into him from there on. He's one of my favourites, man. So he's he kind of drew me back in, and I stuck with it since then. So that's kind of like 9 solid years. And I think anything that I missed, I picked up on the network. But I guess you guys have probably told your stories before, but I'd be interested if like there's any connection between you three along the way, or how you really got into it.
It's mad because I met Delboy at uni. It was mad how I met him. So I think it was my 22nd birthday at my house. And I've not seen this guy from nowhere. He's coming to the house and he's wearing a WCW hat, a vintage WCW hat. I'm like, yo, what's your name? he goes, Derek. And I was like, yo, listen, what, you watch wrestling? He goes, yeah. I was like, bro, we're going to be friends forever now. Took his number from that day. Like, we used to have pay-per-views, like at my house. I'll call the guys around, we'll watch it in my room. And after, we'll just go about our business. And I think, what one was it? Did we watch when Brock Lesnar lost the Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker in my room?
I wasn't. Yeah, it was at uni, but I wasn't there that period.
Okay, I think my another guy in the group chat, VRSYJNES was there and Sam was there. I think they were watching in my room, and all of us lost our shit. So from then, we just like kept each other like in like just messaged each other like randomly, say, yo, did you see what happened on Raw or SmackDown, or did you see this in wrestling, or so and so. And after, like, I think only last year I thought, you know what, guys, I think it's time we just like, you know, make a podcast and
Yeah, we initially started a group chat from it, so where we just send each other
it was a group chat, just
shows,
send each other like dumb stuff.
just dumb wrestling stuff, and we just thought,
Yeah.
you know what, we like wrestling this much. Why don't we just start a
Yeah.
podcast about it? And yeah, here we are.
Yeah,
It's
but
60
on the,
what happens.
on the individual thing, I remember like I started off watching wrestling from like the 90s, like 90s. When I mean 90s, I mean Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Ted DiBiase. Whenever I bring up these names, the guys in the podcast laugh at me. Even
They're
in the
like,
group
"You're
chat back in the day, they were like, "Oh, I'm a dinosaur. Oh, I love Iron Sheik. Or Iron Sheik's my favorite wrestler." But these guys are the guys that like set it for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't lie. They set it for me. I remember I was seeing another podcast. Like, I remember seeing Virgil for the first time. Virgil, like, obviously now Virgil's seen as a meme and people don't really like put respect on his name that much. But I was like, this guy is sick. Then after, obviously, I caught up with that the updated stuff with The Rock and the Stone Cold and blah blah. And I was like, yes, The Rock. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like as time's gone on, I just like started catching up and stuff. Even now, I'm still catching up to stuff I've missed with CM Punk. I never got to see CM Punk wrestle. It was only like this year during this lockdown period, I've had time to like go back and watch the old stuff. So yeah, man, I'm the dinosaur in it. So
Man, say what we want about CM Punk in certain ways, man, but he's got body of work there. He's well worked.
Yes. I watched that. I think
Resume.
during this lockdown, I watched the match with him and John Cena when he got I think his contract was ending.
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. Yeah,
Bank,
that was a great match. That was a sick match. Very sick match. But yeah, man, that's individually. That's how happened.
What about you two, man? What about the other two? Who was your favourite? Who got you in?
Who got me in? To be fair, my journey in wrestling was a bit different from everyone else's. I didn't start off watching WWE. I was more of I got let into wrestling through WCW, and Chris Jericho's always been my guy, even till now. He's my favorite wrestler. So started off as WCW, kind of eased into WWE, eased into that ECW and whatnot. And then as time went on, I just fell in love with it. And I'm what people in the group will call like the indie person. Like I'm just
any independent like promotion. This guy will know it. Even if it's an independent promotion in Austria or Switzerland, this guy will know it. I don't know how he does it. He'll be like, that wrestler there. That wrestler there.
It is. Remember on Sky, it was channel 427, the wrestling channel. So
yeah.
I kind of got introduced into like Noah. That's how I got introduced to like TNA Ring of Honor. So from then, I kind of like I always wanted to be like the person that knew about wrestling before everyone else. So I always like delved into watching other different types of wrestling. So I got into like CZW, got into PWG, Full Impact Pro. So yeah, that's more or less how my journey started. But yeah, Chris Jericho is my favorite wrestler of all time.
Like, we know in like the promotions like you just mentioned, like I always kind of almost retrospectively, because of a star, someone got big, and then I'd be like, I need to check out.
Yeah.
Like BW, for instance, and like Moxley, you were just saying about CZW and stuff like that. Like that always made me kind of get on a binge almost. And get into stuff. I feel like I've always been behind the curve on indies, but I'm constantly trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
Hi, this is the Superior Cypriot Theodoros, and you are listening to the WRESTHINGS podcast.
With my job, man, it's the nicest way to put it. Like, obviously, apart from having like a family and stuff, so I have to be locked into like the 3 hours of Raw. I have to watch Smackdown. I have to watch AEW, and I have to watch NXT. And sometimes, like, just so like I can't go on my show and be like, "No, I didn't really see it." Cause nobody wants to hear that. So, man, like even just picking all that in a week that it doesn't actually have a pay-per-view, right? Imagine adding the pay-per-views to that. It's just a lot.
It's a lot. Do you know what's funny? Yeah, it's funny you said that because sometimes I do feel guilty when we come on this podcast and I'm like, Raw, I didn't watch that. Smackdown, I didn't watch that. And I feel guilty because I want to discuss it, but I can't. But it's like, it's very hard. Like, honestly, I got to give it up to you. Like, I think on my timeline, you always like, I think I'll go in the morning and I see stuff you've tweeted about the last night's Raw or Smackdown and it updates me now. Bro, I got to give it up to you, man. That's a hell of a job.
It's hard.
Especially with like...
Are you enjoying Raw and Smackdown at the moment?
Am I what? Sorry?
Enjoying Raw and Smackdown?
Oh.
If you can answer.
If you can be honest.
I mean, it's one of them where like I always try and find the good things in wrestling because I feel like it's way too easy for people sometimes to just be like, oh, that shit was trash, or like, this person's crap. And I think Like I don't know whether it's because like I've met the vast majority of them at this point and spoke to them, where you almost feel like a little bit of like no one's going out there trying to stink it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course,
and a lot of the time, like if someone has a bad match, then it's fair game. You can say like, well, that was pretty bad, or if whatever, they're dialing it in. But a lot of the time, you've got to remember, a lot of it's out of their hands, and that's where it comes into the creative and how heavily scripted some of these promos are. Like a lot of the superstars who do kind of flourish are the ones who get a massive say in what they get to say. But you have to work to that point. And so what I guess I'm trying to say is there's individual people that I enjoy, I guess. Like I've kind of enjoyed Orton's story over the past few months. Yeah. I do enjoy Rollins' Messiah gimmick, although the fake eye wasn't my favourite thing in the world. But,
I'm loving it.
But, as far as his gimmick goes, I feel like from like red hot babyface to ice cold with fans at one point, I feel like he's done quite well to like get back on the saddle. So there are superstars that I kind of enjoy following, and Sasha Banks and Bayley is a story that I've been craving for ages.
Yo, listen, Sasha Banks and Bayley, I'm loving it right now, man.
They're on fire.
Honestly, they're on fire.
They're like the two-man power trip of today. The two-man power trip of 2020.
Honestly.
Listen, I didn't get the great ones, the Young Buck. I didn't get his origin
story. Wrestling.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say my journey started in like the early 2000s. I used to hate watching wrestling until the start of the Ruthless Aggression era. So that was like when it was Biker Taker, when all the old school Rob Van Dam's, Jeff Hardy's were all there. That's when I'll say I started getting into wrestling. And I'll say the first match that got me into it was the TLC match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
After that match, I was just like, yo, this is amazing. And then I started playing the wrestling video games like Smackdown, Shut Your Mouth. And that got me much deeper into wrestling. And then I was just tuned in every week. But obviously, because I was young, my parents were saying you can't watch wrestling. So I had to watch it on the slide. It was a bit difficult, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I always managed to watch it throughout until like 2006. That's when I was like, I've missed out on the Attitude Era. I didn't know what DX was until 2006 when they reunited. So I had to go back and watch everything again, and then I caught up, and then I understood fully like the history of wrestling, the Attitude Era, the Golden Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, and then from there, I was saying my love for it just got even more and more, and I just kept on watching it. And now, I mean, I'm in and out of it, but I still know what's happening. So I'll say I'm still up to date with everything.
Yeah, you're like me. You like Carnage, but that to be fair, that roster and the Ruthless Aggression, like you just mentioned there, Van Damme and that, it's just a crazy roster, man. Like
so it's
crazy.
Basically, they picked out the bones from WCW, and it was just mental.
Yeah. WCW and ECW, that's crazy. 2 promotions.
Trust me. I don't think so. If something like that were to happen today, I don't know how like things will go, but obviously there's a lot of sick wrestlers out there, man. Especially with AEW and stuff coming out now. How are you taking it? How are you taking to it?
Oh, what, as in AEW's ascension? Yeah. I mean, I think it's good for business to have obviously more spots, and there's lots of people who on the spotlight of AEW I've got to enjoy. Like I didn't know who Sammy Guevara was really until he popped up there. And even though he had a stinker, his in-ring work I do enjoy. And like I said, you were talking about it earlier, Jericho, man, that he is just timeless and he just makes everything. Like I'll tell you something as well. He's still got a big babyface run to have an AEW, like because he's just got so many shades to him. You can just do anything with him, and you can make any story. So I'm excited to see what he does. But guys like Darby Allin, even like a Britt Baker,
absolute star.
Yeah, there's just a lot of them that they've got there, and for me at the moment, I haven't really watched any of AEW. There's a couple of things where you can nitpick it, but I haven't watched any of it where I've gone like, what the hell was that? Like, what are they doing? They haven't made any massive fumbles apart from the guy last year who was punching thin air. But other than that, like, you know, man, they've had a great start and they've amassed the kind of roster I like to watch. I'll tell you one big breakdown, and you give me your opinions on this. The difference that I favour AEW, not overall, but just one thing I like about them compared to WWE. In AEW, when you get two big people fighting each other, you get it. You get that match, right?
Yeah.
You get to watch them wrestle. You know you're going to watch it go, all out. In WWE, on paper, I should be really excited about Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. But instead, what you get is Sami Zayn acting like this cowardly heel and Daniel Bryan doing whatever, and then there's a sneaky finish. It's not a true match of two amazing wrestlers that you want to watch, right? Because WWE often shrouds their stories in like so much character work that they kind of lose the end goal to a lot of us fans. So, and oftentimes the story doesn't really produce the goods. So, the thing I like about AEW is that when they tell me I'm going to get a match, I get my match.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
agree with that one.
I think I said this last time on the podcast, isn't it? I said with AEW, I feel like I don't know. This is one thing I kind of like. I got put off with AEW a bit. Yeah, is the fact that I feel like every single show feels like a pay-per-view. Do you feel like that?
Yeah.
And I feel like it becomes a bit. I don't know. It just becomes a bit. Like I slightly started to stop watching it because of that. I just feel like everything just becomes. It's a bit. I don't know. Maybe because it's a new thing.
You can't keep that pace for one. Like it's pretty impossible, isn't it? To like to book that way constantly. But I mean, and they haven't knocked everything out of the park. Like I'm interested what Sean Spears is kind of going to do now. But to me, he's had a bad run there. That's
definitely.
Like if you're looking at people who are going to go away from WWE and prove to the world who they actually are, and what's he really done? Unfortunately, so like I said, they haven't knocked everything out of the park, but. Man, I think that they are trying to play to their strengths with the wrestling, and they're trying to be different to WWE. And it is like if you watch both, it's quite alarming in many ways to me. I guess I just say this because WWE is like inherently in my heart because it's what into wrestling. Do you know what I mean? So, but you look at Raw hovering around 1.5, and AEW is at like 850 in the ratings, and you think it's really not that much of a gap. Like.
No, it's not.
In a year, there's nothing to say that won't be like, all you need is AEW to push up a little bit and WWE to fall a bit more. Yeah. And it's like, Jesus, that's actually a real rivalry. They're acting like it's just something on Wednesday nights, but they're really not that far.
It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. Even like, I get, obviously, they're competing with NXT, but it's more like, I feel like if AEW add one more show during the week and they do like a roster, like a different show, then we can start comparing it to WWE, like the rest of like Raw and SmackDown fully. But as for now, obviously, it's on Wednesdays. People, watch it at the same time and stuff. So, I definitely get that.
And also, you need to remember, Raw's ratings are dropping drastically every month. So, we'll have to wait and see what it's going to look like at the end of the year. I possibly believe they're going to be competing. They're going to be competing for number one spot now. And it won't be AEW versus NXT. It will be AEW versus SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah. And also remember...
Go on, sorry. I was going to say, what do you fellas think? Like, I don't want to say, like, it will change when Vince dies, like, or anything that morbid. But, like, do you think... basically, the trend has been going this way for years now. You actually look at it, like, I don't really even know at this point what WWE... can do. Like, I don't think the no fans thing helps, for one.
No, it doesn't.
Because it is harder to watch, but I don't know what Vince has got or anyone has got up their sleeve really to buck the trend. I have no idea if you guys have got thoughts on that or not.
I personally don't have, and like I don't know what's gonna happen with WWE, to be honest. What I'd want WWE to do is to utilize other stars that haven't had a chance to get to that level they want to get to. For example, Kofi Kingston and Big E having that discussion like on SmackDown this past Friday. That was good.
I want it so much.
Same. I want it 100%. Cesaro is another person I'd love to see become a big star as well. Not a big star, but like do you know what I mean? Just be there, so they can have the title as well. I watched the Buddy Murphy and the Humberto Carrillo match on Raw. Like I don't like obviously Del Boy's been bragging on for time. Buddy Murphy this, Buddy Murphy that. But yeah, this guy's got skills. Like I definitely want to see this guy like, you know, being a run for the championship as well. So, yeah, man, they just need to use they need to utilize their big stars, man.
I feel like Heyman was trying.
Yeah, a bit with who was him? Who's the guy that Heyman used to push? Like, I used to see ever since Heyman came on. A bit.
Ricochet, Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
He pushed Apollo Crews.
Yeah, he did. He was also like the main one behind Drew.
Yeah.
Gaza.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a few that
Austin Theory.
Theory,
yeah. And well, that's what they're saying now. Like, obviously, Vince looked at him and was like, well, you know, we haven't got time to build these people. We need like a quick fix, but there ain't one.
Yeah.
Like,
there isn't.
Putting Ric Flair back on TV and the Big Show ain't gonna
nothing.
You know, I don't know what. That's not the answer, man. So
the dinosaur in me likes that. It's like, yeah, I want to see Brutus the Barbecue Beefcake. I want to see Ric Flair on the TV. I want to see Kevin Nash. That's the dinosaur in me. I like that, but it's not gonna help the brand. Do you know what I mean? We need to see these new stars. These guys that hasn't been utilized. The guys that are in the canteen just chilling there. They need to come out on the big screen. Yeah. That's what we need to see.
It's not fair that with all like WWE already has a bloated roster. There's no need for us to bring in nostalgia acts to come and save the day when we've got stars here that you could potentially like. Because let's be real, a lot of these guys, they're giving you quality matches. It's just a matter of just putting them in scenarios that work for them on TV. So in terms of what WWE are going to do for moving forward, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
But that's the thing.
Unpredictable.
Like, you just said it there, really. Like, WWE has got, like, so much talent, like an overload of talent, that what else can it be but the stories? Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not for lack of match quality or even talent. It's just they're not putting them in the right positions, man. I'll tell you something that is kind of an exclusive. I was just talking to someone before I came on.
Oh, wow.
And they were saying, like, that WWE are, like, legit worried that Kairi Sane will go to AEW.
Ooh.
Like, so they're saying that because you know Kairi is going back to Japan basically because that's where her partner is.
Yeah.
But Bea Priestley works for AEW and she flies in and out from Japan just for the shows. Obviously not at the moment because of the pandemic, but that's how she worked before. Her and Will Ospreay live in Japan.
And
so and I think the belief is, I mean, Kenny's actually been on record before, Kenny Omega, saying that if he could have any woman in the world to add to the roster, it'd be Kairi. And that'd be the same deal. They'd allow her to live there and fly back. So apparently WWE, like, this is why you're seeing all of this love on social media. Like, this outpouring even from Triple H and that, because they are like, they're trying to keep her sweet basically. And although like there's a little belief that she's probably too nice to just screw him over and go, yeah, I'm going to AEW. But at the same time, like, she hasn't signed an ambassador contract, which they hoped. You know, they're talking about weighing her in for like big, like, you know, decent money for just being someone sitting on the bench essentially. So it all depends, man, what she wants to do. But that apparently WWE are worried. So I don't know if AEW, I ain't spoken to anyone there, if they're actively pursuing it. But man, like, imagine that, like that the jolt that would give to AEW's women's division would be literally massive.
And they need it as well.
They
need it because their women's division they've got a lot of talent, but it just seems to be the same 3-4 faces that we see every week. And then once someone loses a title shot, then it's like they have another 4 women in rotation again. So I don't know. Now, if any of you were GMs or Tony Khan at the moment, how would you fix their women's division?
No.
I think they're on their way to do it. Obviously, they're doing this. I think I saw an announcement about them doing a tournament or something. Was it a tournament?
Tag tournament.
Tag tournament. So I think in that way, they could do something there where they can blossom a bit and stuff. But personally, I really can't. I don't know what to say about that one because I haven't really watched the women's division. I haven't watched AEW too tough for me to deep the women's division.
But to be fair, the main thing there is, like, I mean, if we're just talking about like obvious fixes, right? Like Tessa Blanchard is sitting right there. I don't know. You know, she's obviously got the talent, right? But her character, and I mean this isn't not her on-screen character, her actual character is seriously in question. Like, there's a lot of allegations against her from like just racism to bullying, all of it. So the vibe, I've been told that Tony Khan ain't having it, basically. But at the same point, you remember she worked on All In with Cody and the Bucks, Omega and that, so she kind of has a relationship with them. I don't know if it's out of the question, But at the end of the day, Tony Khan is the final shout in it. So she's got the talent to make that something special straight away. But I don't know. Kairi, again, massive option. But I think it just goes back to what you were saying, Del, man. Like, it's, well, even if they need to tell the stories beyond that core group that they've got. Because at the moment, I think Statlander's injured, Britt Baker's injured. So who's left? There's like 3 of them, basically.
Yo, it's Anafi here, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast by the Mandem for the Mandem. Blah, blah, blah.
They need the tournament to have the right stories weaved in it.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
bring out new people, basically.
Yeah.
No, found.
It's true. It's true. Obviously, you know, I think we've spoken a bit about the nostalgia stuff. I just want to touch on it a bit again. What's your favourite moment of all time ever in wrestling?
Man. God, that's so hard. I mean, there's lots of to quantify it into like moment because there's like cool moments where, like, you know, I don't know, Austin Beer Bash, or you know, like when he doused The Rock and Vince McMahon and stuff like that. Like, that's a cool moment. But there, you know, also other cool moments are like Kofi Kingston winning the title at Mania, like, because it's a moment that follows it. You know what I mean?
I nearly cried, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I nearly cried. I remember watching it, and you know, when it starts to get hot, you start getting goosebumps and that. I nearly cried, man. It was a moment.
Proper surreal. It was proper surreal.
Yeah, it was surreal, man.
I never thought WWE were actually going to pull the trigger. So like,
same.
So when he finally got it, man, I was like, yeah. And I've spoke to Kofi so many times. He's one of the nicest guys you could imagine. So, and I think everyone thinks that of him. But I don't know. The greatest moments is hard. Like, when I think things that stick out on my memory is more like pops. I thought one of my favourite things ever was the Daniel Bryan, the culmination of that storyline at WrestleMania 30. Like, because again, I'm not sure people really thought that was going to happen. So, especially like, did you ever see the segment where Triple H is trying to promote the it's like a title v title match? They're going to unify the world titles.
Oh yeah, and then Daniel Bryan. Got mad.
And the crowd just don't let him talk. Like, that stuff is like magic. You can't buy that. Like, that's what it's missing now. Like that electricity that a crowd brings. Like, But those things are always my favourite moments. Like, to be there in the flesh. I was there the night after WrestleMania 33, and Roman Reigns comes out to open the show. You remember watching that?
Yeah.
The crowd again just would not let him talk. Like, they are like. And it was much worse there than it was on TV. Like, because you know, WWE, like, they kind of tour with the mics, man. They're like, like people are literally saying like, "Fuck you, Roman," like for like 5 minutes straight. Even before the show come on for like 10 minutes, people were just going mental. And then he just dropped that one liner, and everyone was just so mad. It was amazing, man. It was amazing.
Is that when he goes, "This is my yard now"?
Yeah. It was like, he just drops the mic. And it was like one of them. It was like, that's so good, but everyone was so mad. It was just amazing, man. To be at the Royal Albert Hall as well when Mustache Mountain beat Era, again, I felt like the roof came off the place. Like that probably, by comparison to a WrestleMania, doesn't sound like much, but man, they're all my favourite moments where the crowd are just in it. And I think that's why I love wrestling more than anything else, to be honest.
It's the
Atmosphere, yeah.
Yeah, we're due to go to WrestleMania. I don't know when.
Yeah,
now.
man.
Hopefully next year, but
God willing.
How many WrestleManias have you been to?
2. I've been to 2. I went to
2 WrestleManias.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So listen, this will drive you mad. I went to 33, and obviously that's when the Hardys came back.
Oh man!
I remember watching that live. And
we're talking about moments.
That's a moment. That's a moment there.
What did the pop feel like?
You could feel it like through your body.
Oh, man.
They were at home.
People were like, you know, but obviously you don't know anyone, and the people are turning around and hugging everyone, and like guys are crying and stuff, man. It was mad.
I probably would have cried. I won't lie to you. Because I remember it. Because I remember it was a ladder match for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
New Day came to present. So in my head, I was thinking, wait, are New Day going to be on the match?
And they was in their gear as well.
So they were walking slowly. Then I heard the music, and I said, wait. I grabbed my little brother. I was like, wait, the Hardys are back. And I was thinking, no, this is crazy. This is so crazy.
So I did that one, but I also did the Royal Rumble this year when Edge came back.
Oh,
So like, you know, again, it was like, but you can't honestly replicate or describe the reaction when that stuff happened.
man.
You
You
must have
must have lost your shit when you saw the spear then.
You must
That
have.
spear.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mate,
Nah.
it was madness. Like, and it was one of them as well. Like you like heard reports, but when you're watching the Rumble, because the first half was so awesome with Lesnar in that,
Yeah.
and I'm just watching it. At this point, I think he comes in at like 21 or something, and I totally almost forgot that he was going to be something, and then obviously his music hits, and you're like, oh shit, like here he is.
Yeah.
Like, man, like, but yeah, the manias I've done are 33 and 34. I did the one in New Orleans where Lesnar and Reigns got booed out of the building at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm actually a Reigns guy, so I didn't really like that. But you know, when I say I'm a Reigns guy, I just feel like, and this happens a lot in WWE, people have a problem with someone's booking,
Yeah.
and they take it out on them, and it's like,
Take out on them, yeah. Do you know what it is? It's hard. Like, I'm sure every wrestling fan has ever done it in their life, and it's hard. Like, I think it just takes the time. I think you need to for you to like do that. You need to come out of. You need to come out of it and look through. Do you know what I mean? Look through a different perspective and stuff. But yeah, I've been like that so many times. I think we was even cussing Roman Reigns for like, I think in the beginning of our podcast, it was like, yo man, we don't like the way Roman Reigns is. Blah blah blah. This he's boring this. But as time's gone on, I kind of removed myself from the wrestling fan perspective, and I was like, he's actually a good wrestler.
I've definitely moaned about. Like the Superman punch sucks to me. Like,
I hate that move.
Okay, quick question before I forget. Yeah, what's the worst wrestling move of all time?
I mean, I'm not joking. That's up there. I hate that.
These guys think the leg drop is the worst move of all time.
Oh, what, like Hogan's?
Yeah.
Man, for someone, right, who is that legendary, if you go to someone now, Hulk Hogan, yeah, he was a big guy, and they go, oh, cool. And I'll go, yeah, YouTube him, and then they watch the leg drop, they're like, like that's not the one. That sucks. As a finisher, that sucks completely.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. There's a ton of like stupid moves in there that just make no sense. But the Superman punch, like when it used to put people away, I hated that so much. It was just a bad move. And I don't think that helped Roman, to be honest.
Yeah, it didn't.
So anyway, I used to complain about stuff like that, and I've definitely complained about how he's been booked and stuff. Like I remember when he won the Rumble, and I was just like everyone else. I was like,
2014.
You could see it coming a mile off, and it's just like, it's just shit, isn't it? Like it's not creative at all. But again, none of that's actually his fault. Like
it's not.
It's not really his fault that Vince McMahon has just decided, I don't care if it makes the world of sense to turn him heel, he's not going to turn him. So there's not much but I guess at the same time, as fans, like, how else are we meant to show that we don't like what's happening?
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Very true.
I think it's fine. Yeah, booing is one thing, but like, I guess just the people on Twitter as well. Like, I mean, that's a whole nother discussion because that can be toxic as hell. But I have felt sorry for Roman, like especially. Like, it shouldn't have took leukemia for people to
feel sad for him. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. That part there, like, it's deep. Like, even I think, go on.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, even that time we done an episode and we dedicated the episode to him because it was like we actually felt bad for everything that happened, and we kind of got a lot. We kind of had a lot of respect for him then as well. So yeah, it's just it's mad. It's mad. It shouldn't have taken that for us to see the good side to him.
Yeah, I do feel like wrestling fans forget that these are humans at the end of the day as well.
Yeah.
Like Alex, you must see this all the time because as a journalist, I'm sure you get a lot of Twitter trolls about certain things, and it's like in the back of your head, you're actually thinking like, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't even important.
Yeah, like I mean, that's the thing with Twitter, like, and so like sometimes people will say like some of it's just funny, like, do you know what I mean? That they'll say to me like somebody once was like, Alex McCarthy looks like the kind of guy that like enjoys his own farts, and I was like, I mean, all right. I said that to my missus, and she was like, "Why are you reading this stuff?" But the things that bother me more, like, I don't really care if anyone says weird stuff like that or like personal insults, I guess, because like Sean Ross Sapp, I remember him telling me once, like, if they don't know you personally, then don't take it personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're just trying to do whatever. But it's when people kind of like slander your work. That
Yeah.
bugs me a bit. Like
Yeah.
I would say like 70% of my work probably is just based on interviews, right? Like who I've spoken to and what they tell me. So like, what more can I do than give it to you from the horse's mouth? Like you've got, and then
Yeah,
people were like, will still complain. Like, and I think, oh, okay, that doesn't really make sense. But and then you'll do like some report work. So like this week, for instance, I got told by someone close to Charlotte Flair, it was like she had surgery on this day. Like no one else has reported that, and I was like, cool, like, I'll run it. She had successful surgery, and she's kind of weighing up her options and that. And then somebody was like, but then on the same day I did something about Aleister Black, and somebody wrote on there, Bill Barty, whoever that is, right? The guy who does the pod with Vince Russo, basically. And he was like, you're stealing his work.
The hell?
Oh, for goodness
I'm
sake.
like, what? Like, who's this guy? And they're like, and then it wasn't even that. It was the way he worded it. It was like, you're stealing it again. And I was like,
Again?
What are you talking about? Like, who is? I wouldn't even know where to find this guy's work. What are you talking about? Like, if you can't see that I'm actually out here doing the work, then I don't know how else I could physically show you. Because that's the thing. Like, and I feel like with Twitter sometimes, you almost embarrass yourself more by standing up for yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because you could spend all day going back and forth with people, but a lot of people aren't going to just go, oh, actually, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you've just got to I've learned to like look at some tweets. I double take and I think I'm so tempted to reply to that, but ultimately I don't. I prefer to as you would have seen on Twitter, I prefer to project positive stuff. I feel like you give out the vibes you give out. Inevitably, in the followers and stuff, you'll attract the same people. Like, and there are people who kind of feed off hating on wrestling.
Yeah.
Which is the most paradox thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, why you would give so much of your time to something you hate, but people do, and like you find that with that. I don't know how familiar you guys are with this, but like that JD from New York, he kind of makes a living on that.
Oh
like,
yeah, he's a podcaster, YouTuber. He said a lot of like crass and embarrassing stuff, and it's like I think with me, I think getting into the podcast, that's when I've become like more familiar with like journalists and podcasters, and then you kind of have to pick who's credible and who you think's not credible. So there's people like you, people like Ryan Satin, Sean Ross Sapp. These are people that I deem as credible people, whereas JD from New York and others, it's like I just take what they say with a pinch of salt, because at the end of the day, it's like with wrestling, there's opinion and fact, but a lot of people feel like their opinion overrules the facts that are presented. So for me, it's like if it's not a balance of both, I'm not trying to hear
it. And that's the thing as well. Like wrestling's subjective, so like I feel there's facts obviously in a lot of areas, but in terms of taste, right, it's totally subjective, because who you like and who I like could be totally different, and neither of us will be right or wrong because it's who we like. But on Twitter, if you say something bad about, I don't know, often it's with the women superstars. Their fan bases will like go mad.
So
it's not like a personal thing. It's not like I don't like that performer or whoever might be saying it, but you can't have a discussion. So again, you have to like pick your battles, and because wrestling is so subjective, to me, I want to always respect anyone else's opinion. Like there's nothing that should make my opinion worth more than anyone else's, and that's one of the most beautiful things about wrestling, I guess. But like you said, it's so hard to kind of wade through the people who just feed off being those negative kind of influences. I don't know. I don't dig that. I try and present myself a different way.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, man. Honestly, more time it's like when I see stuff like that online, it's just like I send it to the guys and I'll be like, guys, what do you think about this? I think what's the most recent one I saw? I can't remember, but yeah, it's normally when I see stuff like that, I just kind of like split it to the side and stuff. But do you manage to like? Obviously, there's been a lot of like obviously like with the whole like new sort of documentaries and stuff coming out. Did you manage to watch like the Dark Side of the Ring stuff?
Yeah, I did.
What's your take on it?
I like it. Just I mean, some of it was long overdue to be spoken about, frankly. Yeah. The Owen Hart stuff, man.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That was crazy.
So I said this on Twitter at the time, but I'll reiterate it here. I've been someone who's for years been like, man, Owen Hart should be in the Hall of Fame. I was like, he's got to be in there. And I was like, what? And I couldn't really understand
why he wasn't in there.
Yeah, I knew the reason that his wife didn't want him in there, but I was like, well, you know, I was like, that's a bit selfish. I feel awful even saying that. I was like, that's a bit selfish. Like, you know, fans should be able to celebrate him. Like, what he would want. He was a great wrestler. I was like, why wouldn't that happen? And it's not until I watched that and obviously took it from her perspective where I felt like an idiot. I was like, man, how could I have not? How could I have been so ignorant almost? Yeah. I guess it's okay if you're willing to open your mind and learn, but man, watching that was such an eye opener to me. And I think the Chris Benoit one, because I feel awful. Yeah. He was like one of my favorite wrestlers ever.
Yeah.
From like a work perspective, and you're kind of crushed when it happens because you just don't want to believe it. You're like, oh,
same.
Just don't be like, I hope this isn't whatever. And then obviously it was, and to learn those finer details that maybe I didn't know as well. Those ones I think connected with me the most, I would say.
Yeah. I remember because I watched the New Jack one, and that one there,
it's crazy.
More time I didn't know whether to laugh or whether to be in shock. Like, bro, did you? I was like, more time I was like, are you saying that? Are you actually serious? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around certain things.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Big Wavy Roy Johnson, and you're listening to WRESTHINGS.
I feel like the Chris Benoit one really it shook me up because it's like the theories that it had behind it, saying that he was a devil worshipper and he had a Bible light and all that stuff kind of flipped out with me. The Owen Hart one, that one was more like, oh damn, because obviously before I was like, I wanted him to come to Hall of Fame, but after seeing the documentary and seeing what he actually went through and all that sort of stuff, I therefore understand the reason why his wife wasn't in a minute. So
listen, look, all of you say right now, right? How fucking crazy it is that the show didn't stop. Like,
it made no sense.
Days.
Literally, you could see on the wrestlers' face that the wrestlers' faces that they weren't. I've gone back to watch that Over the Edge, and it wasn't a great pay-per-view.
No. Matt, any other show today, anything in the world, someone died, it's done.
It's done.
Like
that was selfish on WWE.
And it's like it slightly comes across as very disrespectful as well. Do you get what I mean? It's like, oh, another one done. Bring the next person. Do you know what I mean?
Basically, it's like they said in the documentary. They basically scooped him up and said, right, well, who's next then? Like that's fucking like I mean, that's something that's always not sat well with me. I don't know if I'm allowed to even swear on this, but I am.
You can.
That's cool. Yeah, cool.
We saw all the time.
The passion was coming out of me. I'm afraid. But yeah, like that stuff like that has always troubled me. Like there should be no amount of money that took precedence over a man's life.
Yeah, facts, man. Obviously, on our podcast, we always ask questions. Get the people to ask us questions on Twitter and stuff. One question that someone asked us is, what would you guys say are your top 5 best finishers in the modern day wrestling?
And
that's from NK Preach.
You guys go. I'll go last.
Cool. Do you want to go first, though? Where? I'm still thinking. I don't know what to say. I don't know if to say this shit. Can I list Canadian Destroyer as a finisher? Because the way people
I haven't seen anyone get pinned by it.
No one been pinned by that one.
Nobody's been pinned by
Canadian Destroyers.
Nobody's been pinned by it since Pete Williams.
I'm trying to think.
R-Truth's roll-up's the most deadliest move in the wrestling. nobody can stand that.
I'm trying to think.
Wait. I think I got some. I'll go first.
Go.
JBL's clothesline.
Yeah.
JBL's clothesline is different. No one hits it the way he hits it.
That put people to bed as well.
Yeah. That wasn't a clothesline. It's a physical punch. But JBL's clothesline, Shane Strickland, Isaiah Scott on NXT, his cradle shot, I think that's what it's called. The frog splash, and I know that one's overused, but In fact, Rob Van Dam's 5-star frog splash, because he does it the best.
Over Eddie Guerrero's.
Eddie, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, really?
I actually agree. I think RVD's was
RVD's
better.
I prefer Eddie's, you know.
RVD's and Montez Fords are kind of similar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The height they reach, reach immense height.
RVD can do that mid-air adjustments too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm with it.
We've seen him turn in the air. Then when he lands and he bounces, that's it for me. That's it for me. But RVD's frog splash, Brock Lesnar's F5.
F5 has to always be there.
It's got to be.
Yeah. Whenever that hits, you know it's game over. And the 5th one, the Stone Cold Stunner. When it's done to the Rock, especially.
But tell me something. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't like the Rock selling. I think Scott Hall selling was way better than.
Well,
I prefer Scott Hall selling.
Yeah.
Hey, tell me something though. Yeah, I don't feel like the stunner. Yeah, I feel like the stunner suits Stone Cold. That's his move. But when someone else does it, it doesn't hit the same way. Like when Kevin Owens does it, it doesn't hit.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Thought for years, like somebody should pick up the stunner. Like I did think that for years, but I don't know. It's not as like snappy or fluid.
It's not. From when Kevin Owens does it, I'm like, it doesn't hit, man.
That's what I mean. It doesn't have the same like Austin. Like, when the kick to the gut to the stunner, like that whole thing was like a smooth. It's hard to explain, but like I don't feel like anyone else does it with the same. Right. I'll tell you what. We've got a couple that come to my mind. I like Baron Corbin's End of Days.
Yes. Cold.
That's cold.
Again, like I said, people get put down with that. Like no one kicks out, and it looks cool. Like there's nothing else like it, is there? Like it's not. No one else.
Funny enough, I don't think anyone's ever kicked out of the End of Days.
No, it's well protected.
That is crazy.
I like what you have to imagine, and the reason I'm picking this next one is because he's been doing it for like 18 or 17 years, and the RKO is still great.
Yes. Even the one he done on Drew on Monday.
Yeah.
And the camera couldn't even catch it. You just see him just drop to the floor.
You know how hard that is for people to be like still going crazy about a finisher 17 years in. That is mental.
Nuts.
Like, you have to put some respect on the RKO.
Yeah.
I remember like, just a few that I liked aesthetically. I like the lumbar check from Cedric Alexander. I think that's a cool move.
That move is sick.
That's really cool, like, especially the way he does it. Because when he was doing it on 205, the way they would sell it was mad. Like it's like they've been killed. They just bounced everywhere. Dakota Kai, she don't do it anymore. I can't remember what she called it, but she used to
chiropractor.
Yes, right. So she used to like get on their shoulders essentially, and then like do a forward flip, but it turned into a backbreaker. It was mad. It was so good. I think since she got injured, I ain't seen her do it since. So not sure if she does it anymore. But man, her that finisher she used to do. I see her do it at Download one year, and it just looks mad. So there's a few like that. Like intricate. I like intricate ones like that are kind of unique and no one else really does.
Yeah.
Like it kind of, like for instance, like, I never liked Wade Barrett's bullhammer. I was like, that's terrible.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
That's the worst finisher.
I was like, that's not original, is it? He's just elbowing a bloke. Like, come on.
I think maybe because I was always a fan of Chris Hero, that's why I enjoyed seeing the move, but it wasn't as impactful as Chris Hero's one.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like Jericho's Codebreaker, like there's loads of iterations of that, but I actually quite liked Jericho's.
Definitely.
So it's like we were saying with a stunner, man. It depends who's doing what, I guess. That really sells it, because a lot of people have tried doing like back in the day. Tess used to do a hell of a big boot.
Oh
yeah, Tess big boot was a madness.
Tess big boot was like
clear off your head.
Running big boot. If that caught you off guard, you're lights done.
That looked like snapped people, right? Proper. But again, like other people do big boots and it ain't the same. Same with like super kicks. I hate how diluted super kicks are now. Like Ziggler and Rollins and everyone, like Balor, everyone's got them, man. I just think, when Michaels used to do it, that was a massive.
Yeah, that was it. Done.
Yeah. It's crazy how things change, man.
Yeah, honestly. Laps, you said your moves. Actually, Laps, nothing. You said your moves.
No, I haven't said it yet. But I'll come back to you.
So I would say I like Baron Corbin's End of Days.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne's bitter end. I think
Yes.
that's one of my favourite moves. Like, in
I like that.
last few months.
I like the pump handle setup. I like that.
Yeah. This move, I think I've grown to like it way more because I haven't been watching New Japan as often as I used to. But the Rainmaker, I think it's one of the simplest moves, but I love it so much.
Yeah.
The Rainmaker. I agree.
I was only thinking WWE, man. I feel like I've limited myself now.
Yeah. I can't like, hey, Alex, sorry, you're the only one. I'm gonna stick in WWE as well because I don't really remember these other guys' finishes like that.
Buddy Murphy's finisher. I love Buddy Murphy. So,
yeah, that's cool.
And Pentagon Junior's package power driver. It's simple, but I just like the snap it does on it. So yeah.
And also, you don't see much of them anymore, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, has to be number one, Brock Lesnar's F5. I remember the
and
first
Sheik.
time I saw it, I was like, how does he get it through his arm? I've always wondered how did he get it through until I actually done it with my little brother and I clocked it. You know what I mean? So Brock Lesnar's F5.
Ted DiBiase's $1 million dream.
No. Oh, see what I mean? These guys always show me. So next one probably be Billy Kidman's shooting star press.
Yeah.
It always hits nice. Always hits nice. Shooting star press. Anyone's shooting star press, to be honest. Unless it's Brock Lesnar's one that goes left.
Have you actually seen the footage of him doing it, though, in OVW, and he nails it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
without
man,
effort. Crazy.
I was saying this to someone the other day, weirdly enough. Like, imagine Lesnar hit that, though, and he didn't muck it up like he did. That match would literally have been, everyone would be saying that's one of the best it's ever been.
Every single WrestleMania, that would have been, do you know the WrestleMania montage? Yeah. That would be on it.
But now, all they ever go is, remember when he landed on his head? But the rest of that match was killer.
Yeah,
crazy.
Sick. Even their SummerSlam match in 2003 was sick.
Mm.
That was sick. So another one, ankle lock, one of my favourite submissions. Or ankle lock. Once you hit the ankle lock, you're not coming out.
Mate, we could have a whole another discussion on submissions.
Yeah. Facts. I've gone to like Kofi Kingston's Trouble in Paradise though.
Yes.
I don't know why. I'm just going to like it. And that's 3, right? So I've got 2 more. Is that 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
You lot are going to slaughter me for this, yeah? But there's something about the rock of people's elbow. I don't know what it is. I think it's more for performance. Forget the whole people waiting on the floor. That's a great move. That captivates the fans. I'm thinking more of a fan's perspective.
Listen, if anyone else does it, it stinks.
Yeah, it stinks. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
That guy's, he's got like his charisma.
Charisma is next level. Next level.
Makes it.
Last one would have to be
Junkyard Dog.
Oh man, clothesline from hell. I'll say clothesline from hell. I'm gonna have to stick at that. Simply because whenever I make a corrected character on WWE, clothesline from hell is one of my finishers. The one where he clotheslines you and he pushes you down and he pins you. That's my finish on games. So yeah, man.
As a kid, I was about to say I liked Farouk's Dominator.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
It was basically like a gut wrench, and he just slams it down.
Slams you down. Yeah. Didn't he hurt someone by that?
Yeah, he stopped doing it in the Acolytes, didn't he?
Yeah, Acolytes. Yeah.
Doing like the he had the spine buster.
Spine buster. Yeah.
Even
his spine busters look painful. Yeah.
Yeah. Mate.
Your head will bounce back, man. Yeah, that's nuts, man.
Go on, bro.
No, go on. It's your turn.
No, I was going to say, we've got some other questions on Instagram.
Yeah.
WrestleManiac UK, they ask, in your opinion, has the global pandemic been positive or negative for wrestling?
So the easiest way I would just, you got to break it up into different things, but overall negative, because the biggest driver, I guess, is the fans and the atmosphere and all of that stuff. So like, I don't think there's any way you can chop it up. But those first Raw shows, before they even put in the few trainees, were like hard to watch. With just the silence and stuff. But having said that, like a lot of like really amazing promos came out of it. And I do think the Boneyard match was like amazing. And I was a big fan of like Stadium Stampede, and what was the last ones we just saw?
The Fiends match, was that one there?
It wasn't crazy. wasn't crazy about the Swamp. I mean,
not so much the Fiend and John Cena. The
the Firefly Funhouse. Yeah. So like there was like there's a lot of good stuff, I guess, that has kind of been forced to happen as a result of circumstance. But I think overall, the longer this goes on, the worse it is for everyone, really.
Yeah, I agree.
And the last question we have is from Darius SB. Big you up. He asked, "Who is the most misused talent of all time?"
Do you know? I want to like consider this answer and come up with something really thorough. But do you want to know who the first person who sprang to my mind was?
Go on.
Billy Dunn.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That guy genetically is incredible. Like he's so strong. He's what is he like 6'3", built like a shit house. Like the guy was athletic as they come. Like I understand why they did the King of the Ring with him in '99. Yeah. I understand. Like he had the tools. Maybe they didn't think he was like the greatest talker. I mean, he won King of the Ring and then The Rock basically done him in a feud, and that was it, wasn't it? But it was, to me, looking at him, he had all the tools to be a proper player. But they, at the end of the day, how far was a gimmick called Mr. Ask really going to take? Like, it was entertaining in that era, but come on. I feel like they could have done more. Like after that had run its course, they should have like maybe serioused him up and. But obviously what they ended up doing was putting him in the Billy and Chuck tag team. Yeah. And he was shredded, man. Like, I just remember looking at him thinking he's literally got everything you could hope for. And to be fair, I thought the Famous was quite a cool finish back then.
It was.
Oh, yeah. It
was, yeah. But,
I felt like I don't know if he's the most misused ever, but I think they definitely could have done more with him. Misused ever, like, it's criminal, really, that someone like Cesaro hasn't had a world title, or at least.
Most definitely.
Listen, that needs to happen, man.
At least a world title feud, he deserves that stage, man. But there's a few like that I always think, man, what, how is it we can see it one way and then just
you can't see it? Yeah,
you don't. I don't know.
It's like when you won the what's it, the Andre the Giant Battle Royale.
Yeah,
and after he became a Paul Heyman guy for a bit.
Yeah.
Like I thought, like from then he was gonna take off, and like they were gonna like properly utilize him. He was gonna win championship or even contend for it or something. But they've just stuck him in the tag team division for time, and like I'm tired of seeing this guy pair up with Nakamura and flipping Sheamus. Like, do you know what I mean? I want to see him like do bigger than that and like go and smash, because he's actually a sick wrestler. I remember the first match that obviously Delboy, because I was out of wrestling at the time, and he said, "Oh, there's this new thing called NXT." And I was like, okay, cool. What is it about? And I was like, he showed me the video. He showed me one of the matches, in it. I was like, this looks dead, man. I can't watch this, man. Like, like, is this actually WWE doing it? And after he goes, no, bro, watch the Sami Zayn versus Cesaro match, bro. When I finished watching that match, I was like, yeah, this is sick. I mean, what's his finisher? The European uppercut, the very European uppercut.
It was.
Yeah, that and the neutralizer.
Yeah.
Is that when he throws you up and he punches you? Wait, which one's that one?
Yeah. The neutralizer is like he like clamps his hands around like between their legs basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So I saw him do the very European uppercut, and I was sold from that moment. I was like, yeah, this guy is sick.
Let me just say, from the story you just told, the one thing that popped into my head, like Sami Zayn in NXT was the deal. Like
the deal.
The match he had with Nakamura on his debut was that was unbelievable.
Yo, it's Anafi here, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast by the Mandem for the Mandem. Blah blah blah.
I need to go back and watch. I need to go back and watch a lot of stuff, man. Because I remember when I first saw NXT, like before I saw it was there to Delbo, it was more of a game show. Do you remember they had to go carry like tires and all that sort of stuff? And I wasn't watching it one bit, man. Even even to the point where I saw when Nexus came in, I was invested in that, because I was like, yeah, Invasion. I live for Invasions. You know what I mean? The guys know it in the group. Like when it comes to Invasions, I'm on it. Like any sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I bet last Survivor Series you was all over that.
I was on it. I was on it.
Amazing.
I was on it. Like it was sick. Even when Bianca Belair came and she threw was it Carmella?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh mate, flipping sick, bro. Sick.
By the way, the more time needs to pass before I can put her in that category. but she has been terribly misused on the main
Yeah.
roster.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's criminal the way they've used her.
Superstar waiting to happen, man.
Yeah. Same with Naomi as well. Naomi, hopefully, yeah. Like, what's the thing that we were saying last week, Delbo? I think you were saying about how when a lot of people talk on social media and stuff, like when people show their outrage on social media, things like kind of change. Like with Coffee Mania, that kind of helps as well and all that sort of stuff. So, do you feel like social media is like an important sort of platform right now in terms of with the connections to WWE or wrestling industry?
I think it's an important vehicle for the fans. For the fans to get to WWE, like it helps to a degree, but I'm not joking. There could be 3 million of us going turn Roman Hill and they ain't going to do it. So it only works to like a degree. Yeah. But for someone like, and I'll use an example like Zack Ryder. Like he did everything you could possibly do to get yourself over, and he was over right at one point, really over. And but WWE only ever saw him to a certain level, and that was something that unfortunately nothing he could do about that. Like he unless he grew like 4 foot and became, I don't know, like it was never going to help him. So unfortunately, but for someone like Naomi, I think it could definitely help her because she's obviously got an established, she's a former world champion anyway. But as far as her in-ring style and how entertaining she is, she looks $1 million and all, man. She looks like a star. Like, if you'd never watched wrestling and you looked at her, like, with the throw and stuff, I'd be like, who is that? But I think it can help certain superstars, but it just needs to be the right topic. Push the right buttons for WWE. And I think Kofi being kind of underplayed was the right buttons at the right time.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. I mean, I was bagging Kofi Mania from like as soon as the hashtag started trending, every single tweet about SmackDown, Kofi Mania.
Yeah.
So I was on it, man. But is there any more questions?
There's no more questions per se. Alex, we had this discussion last week on the last podcast regarding big men, and one of our co-hosts, he's not here today. Big up Sam.
Yeah, big up Sam.
He would. I want to know, in terms of like your top 5 big men in wrestling history, who are they, and would you put Viscera in your top 10?
Top 10? Oh, maybe.
Really?
Viscera.
I mean,
I want to hear this.
I'm just going off a reaction here. Like, you need to let me flesh out my 10. The thing you have to remember with Viscera as well is that he was like Mabel before that, and he wasn't like as big, and like he actually was fairly
as good either.
Well, yeah. I mean, Big Daddy V wasn't my cup of tea, but you just remember when he was like accosting Lillian Garcia. That was a story.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of big men, I guess like we're thinking. For me, I would think look great and are great workers. So, I mean, Taker is a given.
Yeah, 100%.
Taker has to be a given. Even though there's like parts of Kane's run that I thought sucked a bit, like pretty much the winter years of his career after Daniel Bryan, like Kane's in there. He was good too. Kevin Nash, probably.
Thank you. When I said, look, listen, I think no one else mentioned that. Did anyone mention Kevin Nash last week?
I mentioned Kevin Nash.
Okay, Laps did. He's not in my top 5, but he's in my top 10.
Yeah,
Kevin Nash.
I'm kind of working in my 10 here, but Nash is in the conversation for sure in the 5. I think like just at what he did in the business, and I think he's I've actually spoken to him before. He's like fiercely intelligent bloke. Like I think he's underrated. What his mind for the business is. A lot of people will tell you behind the scenes that he's a very, very smart guy. I'm just trying to think of big men now because, like, again, like for longevity, you'd probably say Big Show. I mean, he had his moments, but I don't know if I ever really. Big Show's one of them. Like in his early career, I don't know how much you saw of this in WCW, but he could do some shit. Like
he could.
And he's told me in interviews that like people told him that he had to work like a big man, so he couldn't do everything that he could do. And I think maybe that's ultimately that might hurt his legacy down the road.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we're saying big men, have we got like a size to like?
I think super heavyweight to super heavyweight. So
I mean, for me, I would put a big man as someone that's like 275 up. So I would even put Brock Lesnar there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brock Lesnar is in there then.
Yeah.
Like, to me, he's one of the most underrated sellers of all time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he's I know like that. Even I got bored of like the pattern of just like German suplexes and F5s at one point. But man, like over the past couple of years, he's shown me.
Yeah.
He's still when basically when he's motivated, he's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah.
And to be fair, I would put Kevin Nash in that kind of bracket of someone that, in short, they'd get a lot of flack because they're quote unquote lazy. But when Kevin Nash was ready to go, I think he had some serious matches in him.
I mean, like Vader's in the conversation.
Yeah, 100%.
Like he was again in his prime. Like his last WWE run, like if you ever watch that back, it like sucks to see them treat him like that. He was just jobbed out basically. It was really quite poor. But like in the early 90s and stuff, like the stuff that he did with Foley and even Sting, man, like Vader was a hella athletic big guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's in my top 10 too. Who else have we got? I mean, if we're talking, nah. I was about to like say like, but technically like The Rock is like 275 upwards, 6'6". Like he's a big guy, but I wouldn't class him like. I still think next to like Taker in that he's like a, I wouldn't cut.
I would say when it comes to big guys, just think of the super heavyweights.
Would you put Yokozuna there?
That's the shout.
I mean, yeah, probably in the top 10, but I don't. He's one of them. Like it's the same with like Rikishi. Like they were good for what the size they were, but like that shouldn't be the disparity. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't go. Yeah, he's good considering. Do you know what I mean? Like when we're looking at someone like Taker, he was literally like fucking for real when it came to being six. I think if we're talking legit size, he was like 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
And he can move.
And Umaga's better than Rikishi and Yokozuna, so.
Yeah, Umaga was sick.
Umaga's better than both of them.
I'm even going to dispute that.
I think Umaga's better than both Rikishi.
Umaga's close to my heart, actually. Like the Jeff Hardy feud and stuff. That was
Yeah.
Even his feud with John Cena as well. Sick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, do you know what? Like, and this, I actually thought about this earlier when you were talking about misused. In terms of a super heavyweight, like he looks like a Greek god. Like Bobby Lashley is someone who should have done more than what he's achieved.
Yeah, facts.
Like if I don't know. I feel like he just maybe. I get it that he's not a great talker. Like I get that, but at the same time, man, the way he looks, like Lesnar's got away with it. Like you could have Lashley beat up anybody on the show, and it's plausible. So that's how it should be. Anyway, we're not going to include the great Khali. He was fucking terrible.
He eliminated himself in the Battle Royal.
I mean, to be fair, I think the list ain't that long when I think about it. When we're talking about like true super heavyweights and real big men, like for some reason it came to my mind. It's like, do you remember Brock Lesnar's Survivor Series team? And he had like he had Matt Morgan.
Matt Morgan.
Who was the Australian who went crazy? Nathan Jones.
Oh, Nathan Jones.
Yeah. He looked like he could kill a man, by the way, Nathan Jones. Didn't work out for him, though. I can't remember who else he had on his team, but it was pretty dead apart from Lesnar, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, like I said, to be honest, if like to not drag this out with me just dithering and thinking, I think Taker is like probably the clear winner to me.
Oh, yeah. Just
on legacy and body of work. I do think, even though Kane kind of lives in the Undertaker's shadow in a way, I would have him in the 5. I think Kevin Nash is probably in the 5. Vader is probably in there. God, Umaga might be like my 5th, but the more I'm thinking about it, like for big blokes. And I don't know whether this, again, the criteria is hard. It's pretty subjective. It's just what I liked, I guess. But I can't really think of any other big blokes that, like a Braun Strowman or something like that. Like there was a time where I thought, oh man, he could go on and be something after that feud with Roman Reigns and stuff. But he hasn't really done it for me recently. It's not that I don't like his feud with the Fiend or anything, but I don't know. I'm not. His in-ring work hasn't progressed in any kind of way for me.
Yeah. I agree. Last question I want to ask you though, is obviously you've interviewed hella superstars. How do you continue to stay? Obviously, like you want them to always come back to you, and obviously you want to continue working them. How do you manage to stay in the middle ground and not like try and like what's the word I'm trying to look for? Offend, but obviously keep cool, like with these superstars. Not offend.
Yeah, it's so like tomorrow, for instance, I've got when's this going out, by the way? I don't know if I can even say it.
Saturday, Friday.
Saturday's okay. So I've got Seth Rollins tomorrow, but no one else. It's like sometimes you get superstars who are like passed around, and so like several people in the UK might get some time with him. Like I normally, so they might get like a conference call, and then I'll get 15 minutes at the end for my show or whatever. But but this one tomorrow is like just me and Rollins, and WWE have given him to me specially because they want to promote something big for Monday. So that's a little exclusive for you. But I don't know what it is yet until I speak to him tomorrow. So I guess we'll find out then. But stuff like that, like I've had Seth like 5 or 6 times, so it's cool to think that they go, okay, well let's give him to Alex because they know it works or whatever. Like that's always good. It's like I said, I don't ever try and go like in on someone on Twitter really. Like I don't. That's not really my style anyway. I try and keep it positive and stuff. So I think I'm always safe from that. Like sometimes I get like we were talking about Twitter trolls earlier, right? Like sometimes I'll get he's a WWE shield because they don't think I'll go in. Yeah. Well, if I see something I don't like that, I will say it. Like for instance, I thought the Jeff Hardy storyline was fucking shit.
No, it is, man. It is.
But that's people they'll pick and choose what they see, wouldn't they? So for me, like interviewing people, that's like the lifeblood of what I do. And I wouldn't be where I am per se without it. So you've got to take great care in those interviews and what you ask them. As a journalist, you've got a duty to ask some questions, right? So there's some things that you can't ignore or, especially like if there's rumours going around that you want addressed or, like one thing that I've always kind of been comfortable doing, Meltzer, like for such a long time, wrestling journalists have been able to just go, I've heard this, and there's really no one to call them on it.
Yeah.
Like there was, Dale, you were saying it earlier, man, like about Satin, Ross Sapp and all that, like that was a new wave that kind of did things. Whereas like before that, it was just kind of Meltzer and a couple of others who were like, I heard this backstage, and it was just out there. Like we had no really real way to find out if it was true. You just had to either trust Meltzer or not. Yeah. And then if it didn't happen, Meltzer would be like, plans change, which sometimes they do, but he was living off that. So for me, like sometimes it's as simple as that. Like stuff that's out there, I'll talk to him and I'll be like, let's get into this. Like how much is there to this? Like I remember asking Cedric Alexander, like, Meltzer's out here saying you're getting buried, mate. What's going on? Are you getting buried there? So, it's stuff like that. I feel like I try and ask them the stuff that I would want to know. Like, I'm a wrestling fan. I click on websites and I want to read news. Like, what do I want to know about what's been going on? So, I've got Rollins tomorrow. I've got the Good Brothers tomorrow.
Oh, is it?
See.
They've just hit up Impact, didn't they? So I always quite like them. So interested to see what they've got to say. I try and stay busy in that department because, like I said, I feel like building your reputation in that area has led me to having good kind of relationships with AEW, WWE, Impact, and that has really helped my career get to this like small platform that it has right now. Because there's no good like. I mean, let's just, I hate to use him as an example, but if that JD from New York got hold of him, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be like, I watched this and this was shit. Like, that's not how you do it. WWE obviously expect a certain amount of professionalism from me. Yeah. But to be honest, WWE have never, ever said, don't ask this. Like, don't do this, don't ask that. Like, when I had Triple H, I was expecting, oh, man, I'm going to have to run all sorts of stuff by him. Yeah. But honestly, it was like open book. He didn't care. One of the only promotions that ever has done that to me is AEW, and I can't go into it. Yeah. Properly, but I will say it's from the people might be able to add 2 and 2 together, and if you can, then fair play to you. But I spoke to Cody Rhodes the other week, and after it, they were like, "We need you to take this out, and you got to decide if there's a hill you want to die on or not, right?" Like, Yeah, is this like, because if you don't, like, not only is he obviously one of their top performers, he's at the end of the day, he's like the Office. So if I say no, like, you might not get other ones, but if it was something I felt like people should know, then I could stick to my guns and say, you said it. It's one of them. You got to pick your battles. But on that occasion, I decided to let it go. But I feel like that's it. It's a delicate balance, which maybe sometimes people don't realise. You're trying to, you want clicks, you want interesting stuff for fans, you want to keep those good relationships. And at this time, I feel like I've built a fairly decent reputation with I speak to some wrestlers on Twitter fairly frequently, and stuff like that, and the company anyway, where don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it. But yeah, man, honestly, it's been a sick podcast. Alex, I want to just thank you for replying back to our message on Twitter and having you on, man. It's been a long time coming, man. Honestly, we appreciate it.
Get to check this off our list now.
Yeah, trust me.
What needs to happen now is you guys need to come on my show.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready.
That's what needs to happen. Now, let me tell
Hey,
you.
Mum, I've made it.
We're ready.
Look, this Monday's a bit loaded with Seth and the guys, all right? But let's talk, let's tentatively book it in for, if you guys can do it, not this Monday, but the one after.
Okay, cool.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
we can get you all on at the same time. It'll be ledge.
Yeah.
And we'll do a nice little segment, man. Because when this drops as well, you're gonna have to let me know, and I'll promote.
We'll send you all the assets and everything, man.
Probably try.
I've enjoyed it, man. It's one of my
Try to get it done Friday or something.
Yeah, Friday. We'll try and get it done for Friday.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah. So what you saying? You said you've enjoyed it, yeah?
I enjoyed it, man. This is one of my favorite appearances I've done.
Sick. Well, glad, man.
I'm glad we got this done, man. I'm so gassed. Like, when you replied to the message, I was like, yes, man.
Because it was. I remember we was at Del Boy's Mrs. house, and I think he messaged you, and I was like, oh man, Alex is not gonna reply, man. He's too busy, bro. You know, he's replying. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to start for everyone else. You know what I mean? So
you gotta shoot your shot.
Trust me.
Basically.
Trust me.
The fact loads of people are atting us as well. I was thinking, okay, like obviously loads of people mention us to Alex. This is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug you hard, man. Trust.
I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
But thank you, guys. I'm gonna go get killed on Warzone, no doubt now. But
don't spend too long in the gulag, bro.
Yeah, mate. As soon as they put the snipers in there, I've been struggling.
Oh man, it's long. But yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming down. Do you want to just plug yourself quickly, your socials and stuff?
Yeah, man. Just, AlexM_TalkSport is me on Twitter. It is me on Instagram, but I'm trash on there. Don't bother. And then I've got my YouTube channel where you get all my interviews, and of course, talksport.com/wrestling, where you will find all of my work.
Jeez. Yeah, man, go subscribe to that channel as well. And yeah, man, Alex, appreciate it for coming down. And yeah, man, you're part of the wrestling family from now on. So
brothers,
hopefully we see you again.
Brothers, let's say a week from late, and anytime you want to do this again, man, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Take it easy, man. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for coming on.